You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast. I'm Michael from Arizona. With me always are my good friends.
Jay from the hills of Texas.
And Shannon G in Mesa AZ.
And once again, we'd like to thank you very much for joining us here at the podcast. If you haven't already, please jump on our YouTube page, like, subscribe, give us a thumbs up, tell us how we're doing. We'd love to hear from you. So make sure you put something in the comments section. Whether it be good or bad, we always like to hear from our listeners. And we do appreciate you taking the time to join us wherever it is you're listening, in your car or on YouTube, in your shop or working or whatever it is. And it's always a pleasure to have you join us. We have some really good news. There is a electric event, I believe, in St. George, Utah that's right on the horizon, around the corner. And Shannon is going to go, I believe.
That's the plan.
Was actually able to. Now, Barett Hawkhouse, we've had him on the podcast before, and he's flies both out, or has flown out at Shannon's field, and he's flying out my field. And so he's known pretty much across the board as custom made from scratch, very odd airplanes. And Shannon was able to kind of chat with him, go out to his shop, in getting ready for this St. George event. And I'm going to let Shannon kind of take us through, tell us a little bit about the event, what's going on with it, when it is, kind of give us all the details for that.
Sure. So the Remote Possibilities RC Club up in St. George, they have a beautiful facility. I'd almost say it's equal or rival in scenery to like Arizona Mall Aviators. You get all the mountains and the cactus. They've got the beautiful like red rocks of Utah because it's down kind of on the southern end of the state. It's just beautiful. So they have a great background. It's really cool. And they've been doing this event for many, many years. It's almost kind of, I'm not trying to take anybody's thunder. We're kind of like sister events, I would say, in electric events. A lot of the same participants have come to both events. It's now known as the John Morgan Memorial Event. So John Morgan, he was a very avid electric RC flyer. He actually been to AEF many times, so I knew John fairly well. And so when he passed away a couple years ago, just kind of, and he was from their club. He just was just a great influence. I love talking to him. He's so much fun. So the guys still, remember John and all his stories and everything. So it's great to get together. And a lot of the guys that I don't get to see often from California, from other states, they go to that one. That one, it's a little more central, I guess, for some people. It's while we're close, it's just because you're close to Vegas. It's kind of like, okay, we can just kind of make it more of a mini vacation, I guess. Right. If you're into that kind of stuff, Vegas and whatnot. Sure. But it's a really cool field, and I've been dying to go for years. Barett has always been bugging me. Oh, you got to go. And Pat, who used to be part of our club, also, they used to go every year. It was, oh, you got to go. And I wasn't really going to push it this year, but Barett is like, we're working on this plane. I've been helping him with. I sent you guys a picture of it, the Arado AR-234. It's not a secret, but beautiful airplane. I've helped him get the thing ready, getting ready for a maiden this weekend, hopefully. I think he's maiden this weekend. He might maiden it up there. I don't know. But anyway, he's like, oh, come on, you gotta go. So I guess I'm gonna throw a couple airplanes in his van and paddle along with him. And I kind of posted on their little RC Groups page that I'm excited about going. A lot of the guys, oh yeah, Shannon, good to see you. Oh God, glad to see you up there. So I'm really excited to make it up there, and I'll come back and give you a full report. Maybe I'll do a little short and sweet post on our Facebook page up there. So absolutely. It's technically next Friday and Saturday, the 21st, 22nd, but I think Barett wanted to go up on Wednesday, like morning. I'm like, I gotta work. So what can we do? He's like, okay, what can we do? I'm like, well, I can take Thursday, Friday off. So, I'm gonna bring all my stuff over to his shop and load up his van Tuesday. So then if Wednesday he's gonna come pick me up and we can head straight out of town after work. So we'll make it up there, cool. And they have like a dinner at the field. I think actually both nights, but there's they fly the whole weekend. So really looking forward to a couple of days just electric RC flying.
Yeah, there you go. And I think there's a couple other guys coming that have, scratch built airplanes as well.
Yeah, it's really known for a lot of the scratch builders, and AEF is too. We get a lot of cool stuff too, but there's a couple guys. There's a guy, Scott Ramirez. I don't know if you ever had him on the show or not. He's an artist and that works in Hollywood and that lives in that area, and his planes are just amazing. He'll take a lot of the box stock planes and totally customize them where you had no idea it was that plane before, like the Spark Zone 228. I think he turned that into like one of the early. It was an early Japanese fighter or fighter bomber. He totally just the basic shape worked, but he just changed just ever so subtly and made it. You wouldn't even know it was from that plane except for the fact that he showed you it was from that plane.
Wow.
Yeah, and a couple other planes he's done that with. He's just a master. If you've ever seen the movie Star Trek Into Darkness, he made the helmets when they're on the volcanic planet. They're kind of those coppery looking things. Those were real, and he made them. Like that's his thing. He makes like maquettes.
Oh, no kidding.
He's done a lot of work on the Simpsons ride at Universal. I think it was Universal. So he does a lot of, he's an amazing artist and he's just a great guy. So he hasn't been out to AEF for a long time. He doesn't travel as much because he was so busy working. So good for him. But he always goes. I know how that is. But he always goes to the one in St. George. So no issues with that. Glad he's just flying and enjoying the hobby. So
yeah, sure. Well, it is a beautiful field. I've never been up there, but I've seen photos, and it's amazing place to go. I'll have to make arrangements at some point to go up there, but it is a little bit of a drive from here, though. I think it's 10 hours, maybe 8 hours, a little less.
No, because it's the trip to Vegas and then an hour and a half over from Vegas.
You go to the Vegas one. Okay, well, that makes sense. Yeah, so 3 hours up to Vegas from here.
Well,
and then
four hours, probably.
4 hours. I was thinking you're going up by Page, and then that's like you have to go all the way around the Grand Canyon, so it takes forever. Yeah. All right. Well, head up to Vegas. Not too bad.
Go to Sin City.
So.
For a second there, I was thinking he was going to fly, since he was going to have someone else bring up all his stuff, and he'd fly.
There you go. You just fly up there.
No, I wouldn't. That's what I'd do. I wouldn't. Well, the St. George is not really. I mean, I know there's an airport there, but I don't.
Yeah, it's actually a big airport. Yeah. You can get up there.
I just don't know.
Actually fly.
Is it not? Is there a nonstop flight from Phoenix?
I believe there is.
I have to look. Okay.
And my wife has taken it a couple times.
Oh, okay.
They do. My kid runs the marathons, and they had done a couple marathons up there in St. George, and she went up there to support him. So I forget
where all the Mesa or whoever it is that's flying it.
Yeah, that's true. So, well, the really cool thing as well is that you had the opportunity to go out. Now you do a lot of work with Barett on some of these projects.
Yeah, so Barett, it's no secret. Barett does not work well with electronics. He's a great pilot. He's a great builder. He just doesn't like playing with electricity. So Pat, So Pat, who used to be part of our club, my cohort at AEF, used to do all of this for Barett. And when Pat moved away, it was kind of like he's like, hey, can you kind of help out and take over my role as the chief electrical engineer, as we like to go.
Right. You had to fill that void.
I'm like, okay, I can do that. So so it's pretty simple stuff, just wiring up speed controls and changing out battery connectors and things like that. But but he just feels more comfortable with somebody else doing it. So so I'm glad to fill that role, help him support his amazing creations, because his family they're in the framing business. They don't they're not framing criminals or anything like that. No, they're framing artwork. Sorry.
If you need someone framed,
you love art.
We know a guy. You want to get a hold of Shannon?
No, they're one of the premier art framers in Scottsdale. There's a lot of There's a lot of art galleries there. So he's told me all the people that they frame stuff for. It's amazing artwork.
Oh, okay. I was thinking house framers, and you're talking
like artwork. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I had him do some custom work for my house. It's amazing. So
Oh, gotcha.
But his shop, he's got these giant work tables, much like what you have behind you. Has several of those. It's almost like you can almost take a picture of his shop and a picture of your shop, and you wouldn't see much difference. Which you'll see, I think, when we look at the video. It's like, it's very similar, except for all the other.
Although he probably has way more balsa wood and wood in his shop than I have.
Probably not much balsa wood. He's got more foam and cardboard than probably allowed by law in most states. But it's
there you go.
But he's always just his first love is boats. He's more into.
He is into boats. I've seen some of those amazing boats,
and
they're crazy.
It's he has dozens of them, and he built those all from scratch.
Yeah,
and he's got a blimp that it's a boat, but it's a blimp. So he just floats it on the water, and it looks like it's flying.
That's crazy.
So he made a couple of submarines. Not true submarines. They were just surface runners, where it'd be like the top deck of the submarine, and then just with a little prop underneath. And those were kind of fun. I got a set of plans for the Disneyland Jungle Cruise boats.
Oh yeah,
and he's going to build us a pair of those, and then we're gonna have those to sell. So I'm like, I bought the plans. Now I want you to build these for me for all the stuff we do. So we're getting there, but I'm really looking forward to having that, and then we'll open up our own little Jungle Cruise in the backyard.
There you go. Well, you did have a chance to go over to the shop, and you were nice enough to kind of shoot some video while you were over there, talking to some of their, some of the projects that he's done in the past and some that are in the future. And yeah, we'd love to take a look at that. So let's join Shannon out at the secret location of Barett's shop, and we will be right back.
Hi, it's Shannon G with Park Flyer Podcast, and I'm here on location with Barett Hockhouse. Say hi, Barett.
Hi.
We are at his super secret construction facility for Goodclay Aerospace, and
and Green Sea Ships.
And Green Sea Ships. Can't forget that too. Barrett's been part of the podcast in recent years, usually as part of the Arizona Electric Festival. But since he's here locally, he thought it'd be kind of cool to come on out and show you around his super secret facility and some of the things he's working on. So I'm going to kind of move the camera around a little bit so you can see some things a little better. And one of the things he's working on currently, what do you want to talk about? Tell us about it.
Well, it's a little bit of everything here. We got the 8.5-foot Queen Mary, which is getting her hull fiberglass here. That's going to be radio controlled. And then we got the Arado 234 Blitz there, which may or may not be coming soon to an event near St. George, Utah.
All right.
We're Shannon, my esteemed electrician here, was just wiring up the ESCs and getting them installed and wired up into the nose where it can reach the battery during flight. Got a long way to go in the next month, but sure I'll get there. Give me a deadline and I'll be there.
Yeah. Well, it's looking really good, and I'm glad to be part of it. Glad to be able to help you out and get this thing in the air. So we're going to do a couple other walk-arounds here. Some of the planes. Of course, he's got a Yamato. This is Yamato, right?
And Musashi. Sister
sorry.
ship of the Yamato.
Gotcha. So he's had that for quite a few years, right?
That one actually goes. Yeah, that's before my RC flying days.
Gotcha. Alrighty. And he's got a whole nother room. He has another project here. This is a Ryan Fireball based off of a T-28. It's pretty cool little.
Converting that into a Ryan Fireball. And we've got the B-10, the V-143. A lot of these you'll find videos of on YouTube. The Fairy Gannet hasn't had her video yet. We get that in St. George. And then, of course, the Guardian has had her video. It's up on YouTube.
Yeah, she is quite popular, and we like her.
Let's see. And, of course, cast your eyes skyward because the rest of the room is so disgusting and dirty. But, yeah, a lot of these videos, people who know my airplanes from local events or from St. George will probably recognize almost everything in the room. The Helldiver is brand new, though. She just maidened last weekend. The Hellcat, the Casa 2111, the Conestoga, which I'd like to think is the airplane most closely associated with me, but I don't really get to choose that sort of thing. Yeah. The B-29 Keybird, the Mabel dive bomber or torpedo bomber, and then the ocean liners. We got the L'Atlantique over here, the Carnival Imagination, and Oh, what else? The USS Grissom, which I swear I'm going to get that thing flying again.
That will be cool.
Yeah, we flew that once at the AMA years ago. It was tail heavy. I got it back in one piece, and I just haven't tried again yet. But we'll get there. And every now and then, I'm plans on the wall here for a little P-40 Warhawk that I want to build of about 40-inch wingspan. Keep track of keep track of airplanes, which airplanes are currently operational. Go on this list. So an event comes up like, hey, St. George is coming up. Hey, AEF is coming up. Winter Warbirds is coming up. Something like that. I go to the year and I think, okay, who am I putting on my loadout? And it just sort of goes like that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool, Barrett. I'm just glad to be part of your RC world, and
yeah, I'm glad too.
we have a lot of fun talking and putting this stuff together.
I'm alert. I don't speak solder. I just don't. I don't speak soldering. I don't speak all that stuff. I've tried, and occasionally in limited examples I have successfully done it myself, but when in situations where you have like a 4-engine airplane, a twin-engine airplane, or something, you're making a Y harness, I just like to lean on the professionals.
Yeah,
so
as close as I can be. So.
Yeah, he's my engineer, my flight engineer,
electrical engineer. So
yes,
there we go.
Yes, my Geordie.
Well, we'll definitely probably come back and visit you again, and you're always welcome to come on the show. So we might actually have you on the show to talk about this little video as well.
Yeah,
but,
please. I'm all for it.
Live on location. We're the Park Flyer Podcast, and we will see you next time. Let's fly.
Well, I will tell you that it's amazing to see all of the projects that he works on, and the fact that he does it so quickly. I mean, after watching the video, he comes up with a design, and then he can get it done like incredibly fast. I don't understand. It takes me years to get stuff done. I mean, Bearcat's been sitting on my table one piece at a time, and he can do it so quickly.
Oh, it's absolutely amazing. He just has this, this talent, this, special. It's a special gift, if you ask me.
Yeah.
To do that, I don't think it was in there, but there's a couple of. It's totally like a side thought. He's like, "Oh, did you see what I'm making for a couple of the other guys?" He made a couple of little Pilatus porters just out of foam, and cardboard, and they're they look like a Pilatus porter. Actually, I have a Pilatus porter that he built like probably 15 years ago out of blue foam.
Yeah, blue core.
I have it in my attic because he just I forget. He's just like, "Oh, I'm tired of this plane. Here, do you want it?" And I'm like, "Yeah," because I love the porter. And I never got around to finishing it, but it's still in one piece. Like it's it needs a little work. Like it was something I think he actually buggered it up, and at a previous time in his life he'd get really frustrated when he would bugger a plane up, but he's not as bad.
Right.
He's okay with it now. It happens. It's part of the hobby.
Sure.
But yeah, just the fact that he just lays out, he'll print out, a picture, a drawing, whatever, and get it to the right scale. And then he just kind of cuts and pastes and cuts it and makes a big, framework, and he starts building it. And he's got his, kind of his format of how he likes to build planes, and he's got his tape, he's got his glue, he's got I don't know how much wood's there that they use for the frame.
Yeah,
I mean, and he's got a pretty good, it's pretty light. He's not using a lot of ball. I mean, he has balsa, but for like bulkheads and stuff, he uses oak. Oak's nice,
sturdy.
Yes, I sturdy wood. No, but
that's what I call a plane. Yeah. Not only can you fly it, you can use it to beat everybody.
And it makes a nice table afterwards. You can sit.
That's right.
have dinner
coffee on it later.
But yeah, just the fact that he does this, and because I'll show up and he's like, I'm like, where did that come from? I was just here like a couple days ago, and there's a whole nother plane here. And he's got and he's got so many planes that he's started. The Starship. He's got the scout ship from Star Trek 3 that he built.
That's crazy.
I forget what all else he's got up there. I mean, it's just amazing. He was working on trying to do like a full-blown functioning blimp, like where he was going to fill it with helium, but it had a framework. It just, but it's still kind of like he got it where it would almost like be, what's the term they use? not buoyant, but whatever. Maybe it is buoyant, but it was just
buoyant. It's lighter.
Yeah, it was just, but it wouldn't stay that way for long because of the weight. But you know, it was powered, and he's like, yeah, he could kind of sort of fly it around, but it just wasn't quite. So he's working on trying to perfect that down the road. But it's just he's got these carcasses of airplanes and projects throughout there, and it's
crazy.
And you know, and then here's the other part of him. So he's, I don't know if you remember, he won the IX-14 at AEF last year.
Right.
He's just now using it with this plane. This is the first plane, the Arado, the AR-234.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the first plane he's putting it on. I was like, Barett, you've got one of the finest radios, and he's still messing around with, you know, his old DX9, which I got from me.
Right.
And I'm like, come on, you can put all your planes in there, and half of them you just download, and it just, the electronic part just escapes him. So, but he's got a brand new, he's got the X-Fly. He's got a brand new one of those in the box.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, he loves the B1, and he just hasn't gotten around. It kind of scares him. But he's like, okay, once I get through this, I'll get used to this radio with this plane, and I'll get that out, and we'll get it going. I'm like, okay. But he's just, you know, he just has a certain way of doing things, and definitely respect him for that. And, you know, I can't do what he does. You know, I'll tinker, I'll repaint a plane here and there, you know, make a little modification, but he just, it's like magic.
It is
he
magic.
Should be on
it is.
America's Got Talent. Like, you build an airplane like 5 minutes and flight in the stadium, in the arena, you know. And I just hear it sign. Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant.
They actually,
buzzer.
I believe they just had two guys that did some F3. That what they call it, F3A work. They came in and did like the indoor, you know, flying around, which they thought was really cool on America's Got Talent, or maybe it was on, I think it was on America's Got Talent, maybe Britain's Got Talent, but. Yeah, I got it on my feed at one point because, you know, I get a lot of RC stuff. And so, but, well, it is truly an amazing shop. I'm just crazily amazed. I love the fact that he's got plans hanging on the wall. I should really do that in here. That's kind of a cool thing. Jay and I, when we went to see a guy out in San Antonio one time, this guy just had plans laying everywhere. I mean, just rolled up, you know, plans from way back, like 30s, you know, 40s or whatever it was. And I told Jay, I was like, you know what? As silly as it is, unfortunately, the guy thought that he had a gold, you know, that these were gold. And so he wanted hundreds of dollars per plane.
Stupid money.
I was
Stupid
like,
money.
that's way too much money. I can literally download these from the internet. I'm not going to pay, you know. He's like, well, these are expensive. I was like, yeah, I don't know. But I told Jay, I was like, you know, it'd be really cool for a shop is to take all those plans and use them as kind of like a wallpaper and just paper your whole, you know, just kind of stick them up there. It'd be so cool to have, you know, just like all these plans laying all over the wall. And,
the wife might not agree, but
it's my shop. What is she going to say?
Yeah. I'm just saying.
I didn't say I was doing it in her room. I said I was doing it in my shop. But it's still really cool. But I do like that.
Oh, yeah.
Where you throw the plans up there. And,
I've got rolls and rolls of plans with something my dad used to collect. And half of them have little bite marks from mice and stuff in them. So it's kind of, but that's something I definitely might think about because I could definitely, you know, just cut that part off, make it look kind of artsy.
Yeah, sure. And it'd be kind of cool too to have Barett make some frames for some of those. You know, if they were really, really nice. You know, he'd put a couple of them in there. I only saw that because when I was traveling this last weekend, they had a multicultural center and one of the booths that they not center but festival, and I went just to kill some time before we had to leave again and kind of get some exercise. And one of the guys there had like all of the patent. You know, the things that they turn into the patent office that have the drawings and stuff. He had a bunch of those that were the patents, you know, from way back when for like the light bulb and, you know, all these really kind of weird things that just were coming into as people were putting patents on. And he had them framed and, you know, they were small. They weren't big pieces, but they were just a little small. And I was thinking about that when I walked by there. I was like, oh, that'd be kind of cool to do some aircraft plans from, you know, like a P-38 or a, you know, P-40 or something, you know, we just had it kind of mounted and it looked, you know, kind of original. So, but anyway, I don't know, got off topic there, but it still would be cool.
Oh yeah.
So you're going to have to come back and actually I think this one will come out or maybe I think it comes out right before you go.
Yep.
So you'll have to come back and let us know how you go, take some photos, like I said, do something on the
lots of photos. The other thing with Barett, if you don't know, he's a photographer. And
yes.
And so that's a lot of times where you know he wants lots of pictures of his planes. So he'll he'll entrust a few people to fly his planes while he takes the pictures. Because, we try it the other way around and he doesn't like the results. So I'm one of the people that he'll usually let fly his airplanes. So
I got the other end of it. I got the actual camera.
Oh, you did? Okay.
He handed me the camera and he said, "Hey, can you take a couple of photos?" And I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
So I think he hasn't trusted me to fly his plane yet, but he trusted me with the camera, so I got that going.
Okay.
So if he didn't like my results, I totally get it.
You're in the club now.
Yeah.
You're in the club.
Slowly but surely.
We
actually were
handshake.
flying.
You got the secret handshake.
Yeah, I did. We actually flew. I flew my little Bearcat. I have a little small Bearcat, and then he had the Wildcat, and so we were out there flying them together. And
Hellcat.
And he wanted, or the Hellcat. Yeah. Sorry, he had the Hellcat, and he wanted someone to take some photos, and so the guy got a couple that were really close where we were flying formation together. So it was kind of cool. So yeah, he's fun to be around out there, and he's constantly photographing or flying, or hey, wait, let me go get my plane, and he's running around and trying to get out there with guys. So he's fun to have at the field.
Yes, he is.
I've seen him more now, because he was flying at your field pretty regular, and now he's up at Sun Valley, and I've seen him multiple times when I've been up there. So he does get out, and he is flying quite a bit actually. So
he loves to fly. He's just he's definitely more of a flyer and a photographer than a lot of those. A lot of the guys come out and don't fly. They just talk. Yeah,
right.
He's the other way around. He flies.
He does fly. We mentioned that at one of the last electric festivals. I think Jay mentioned that out of all the people there, between Barett and like one or two other guys, they were on the flight line more than anybody else. I mean, it was like every time you turn around, they were up flying another airplane. And Barrett's got enough scratch-built airplanes. He can, he'll fly them just one after the other. So it's crazy.
Yeah, the only other people like that, I don't know if you remember, it was a father and son duo that would come out, and they had the catapult for their flying wings. I think it was
catapult
of the Poor Hammers. It was Abbott.
I don't know if I remember those.
Yeah,
guys,
but John, he hasn't been out for a while. The son moved away, but they used to come out. They would meet at AEF, and they would argue and about doing. But in between, like remember we used to have to line up a lot of planes because it was so busy.
Yeah.
So they would I'm not kidding. They would look for opportunities to jump in front of people. That's how much they love to fly. And they had this catapult for their little flying wings, like your Zaggies and stuff that would, shoot it off into the air, and they'd drag that thing from one end of the field to the other. And he'd make this pop, whenever it went off.
Right. That's funny.
There goes John flying his wing again.
Yeah. Well, I think it's Brett. Is it Brett? And his son. He's the guy with the T-38.
Yeah, Brett Hicks.
Yeah, Brett. Yeah. So Brett and his little boy, they fly quite a bit too.
Oh yeah,
because they're constantly, he'll fly and his son will spot, and then his son will fly and he'll spot, and they're always up at the flight line too. So it's good to see. I really enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy the social aspect of it too, but I really do like seeing the flying, and it is kind of fun to fly. I enjoy it.
Yeah. Actually, Brent will be at St. George. He's bringing up his
X-15, I think.
His F-17, YF-17. So
the YF-17.
Before the F-18 was the YF-17, which didn't win against the F-16, and so he custom built one of those.
That's very cool. Yeah, I think his kid has the X-15, the little orange one.
The X1.
X1.
Yeah.
Sorry, I knew it was the X1.
Yeah.
So I think they're bringing that one too. Because I saw a post where they were like, hey, here's another scratch build.
Yeah.
So that's very cool. Well, very cool. Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, but it was great for you to go out and see Barett, and it's always fun to have you on location or kind of going out. We'll have to do more of that. We're looking forward to an update. So have you haven't already?
Town.
Yeah, I know, right? Man around town.
About RC fields.
Well, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. We'd love to hear from you. And I'm Michael from Arizona.
Jay from the hills of Texas.
And Shannon G in Mesa, AZ.
And we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Let's fly.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please give our show a star rating and review, and feel free to email us your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.